Let's roll. This is Countercharge. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Matt Croger, and today I'm going to be taking you through my favourite piece of tournament software, Tabletop.to. This is what I use to run all my tournaments, whether it be the smaller ones or the larger ones like Clash of Kings Australia. Now, this is primarily directed at the Kings of War community, but this video could be applicable to any game system and any event you wish to run for tabletop wargaming. So obviously, first thing you need to do is go to the website, and you can see it at the top of the screen there, tabletop.to. And originally when you come in, it'll say either sign up or log in. Now, it's important that you have a registered account to be able to do this, and it works better if all your players have registered accounts too. So you go in and sign up, you'll get a confirmation and verification email, and then all that will happen for you. Now, if we're looking to create an event, what we do is we go to Events and Add New. Okay, and then this is quite simple, obviously. So you'll do something like Clash of Kings Australia 2022 for next year. Okay, and then we will change the date. Let's just make it the 22nd for now. The game, as you can see, there's a whole bunch to pick from there. I'm going to pick Kings of War. The rules is really nothing, and the series is if you're running a series of events, so they can track them all in a row for you. Okay, but then it's as simple as going to create event, and then that'll bring us to the event panel. Now, if you were a player going to an event, you wouldn't see all this. This is the TO panel, and that's now automatically linked to your account. So the easiest thing straight up is to go to edit your event to see all the settings there. So you can customize your URL if you wish. You can change the event name. You can do the event date and the start time, the player capacity, round duration. The only reason round duration is important is that there is an inbuilt clock for Kings of War. Given that we tend to use time per person, you probably won't use this often. You can add a description if you want. Now, with sign-ups here, you need to click this to open so people can sign up for your event. Okay, then there's two options: sign up, auto accept, or have it off. Now, the auto accept means that when it's on, or if you had it to all, that whenever someone tries to sign up for your event, they will automatically be accepted and appear in your player list. Without that, what will happen is you'll get an email saying, do you accept this person into your event? So that's up to you as the TO on how you wish to run it. Then we go down to lists and ladder visibility. So I've never had the ladder not visible, but you can choose that, whether it will be visible to your players. List visibility, so often I will change this to hidden at first so that we can get players to load up their lists. In an ideal world, they will do that before the event, and it stops you having to have a separate repository for those lists. And then whether the lists are locked or unlocked and able to be loaded, right? So you want it unlocked if you want them to load up. You can have an event banner, but as you can see, there's some maximum dimensions there, and then there's some other options that you may or may not wish to use. Okay, and then so what we do is we go to save, and that'll automatically save any changes we've made. Right, now if we go to running the actual event, what will happen is that when players register, that they will appear automatically in the ladder. Right, the first thing you can do is columns here. This will show you what you do and do not see. So often, if you wanted to simplify it, you could take away the player's affiliation. You may or may not want factions there. Given that Kings of War is loaded in as the TO, it allows you to load what factions people are playing. At this stage, it doesn't allow the player to do that, but you are able to as the TO. It'll show you various groups which will go through their lists and seeds. And seeding we don't usually use in Kings of War, so I'll often get rid of that. Right. Now, if you wish to add a player who had not self-signed up to the list, all you do is go to the big green button that says Add Player. Who would have thought? And then even if you're the TO, you can add yourself to the list, or you can do bulk creation, one name per line here. Okay. But let's just do this. So as it says here, R will indicate that they are already part of that they've already registered for the tournament software. So I'll just type myself in here, and you can see there's myself. Okay, and then I click add, and when I close this, I should appear in the player list. Right, I'm going to add a few other players. So I'm going to add my good mate Tony Windmill. Okay. Just so we can do some demonstrations. Oops, close. Gonna add Taz, because why not? And let's see if the great man Rob Fanoof is in here. There he is. Let's add him to an Australian tournament. Okay. So now I've got 4 players in my tournament that I've added. The advanced setting button over there, as you can see, just hides or otherwise the advanced settings. Okay. Now, before we go further, I'm going to show you some of the other things here. So groups. Groups is really handy for doing your grudges. So as you can see, it says grudge. And what I usually do is just keep them a very simple name, or you could do it as the grudge name. So I could do Matt v Taz here, add group, right? And then what that means, it'll automatically pair us for the first round. So when I came down to the player list, what I would have to do as the TO is before pairings, I'd have to go grudge for me and grudge for Taz. And as you'll see when we come to pairings, that will automatically do it for us. And so you can add as many of those as you wish. The other options for the groups are travel. So for Clash of Kings Australia, we have groups of states travel in, and that would be the same in places like the US, or if they're on certain teams together. And what I like to do is, as lots of tournaments do, is not like to have those people playing each other in the first round. They don't travel to play each other first game. So then I'll create a bunch of groups. So for example, I would create a group called Victoria, right? And then in the grouping for those that weren't grudged, I would select Victoria here, and that would mean they would be unable to be paired against each other in the next round. Team is if you wish teams of people to not be paired together for the whole event. In Kings of War, given we use the Swiss pairing system, I don't think that's very common, but that could be used if you wished. And that's groups. Links is if you wish links to appear for your event. So for example, if you wanted to add the players pack, so we can copy that, we can do that, and we can say tournament pack. Click add, and then what's going to happen is that's going to appear here, right? And players will be able to see that. As you can see, there's an RSS feed too as well for things to be pushed to players. And so if we wanted to add a message, we could do next round starts in 1 hour. If I even spell properly, that would be useful. Right. Players go to the event log, it'll come up there. right? And it'll give them approximate time of everything. The other thing that also happens in the event log is when results are submitted, they'll come up there. Now, series scoring we won't go over for now. Voting is really useful for if you want to vote for a best sport or best painted. So for example, you can do a 3-2-1 selection or a multiple choice question. Typically I use the single player selection. So I do best painted. This is obviously good for people's choice, not if you have a painting rubric. So I just click best painted, and then what will happen is when players come to their voting tab, that typically, so lock responses will stop people voting further. Publish responses will make it all visible. But what happens is then people can select their best painted result. Okay, and all they have to do is click that and then submit. And then as the TO, when you later, when multiple people have voted, you will see a running counter here. Now, random picker, that's useful if you have a lucky door prize. So what it does is it just chooses a random player from the event. Rob Fanuffy wins everything, so that's no good. Custom attrition scoring is here. I've never actually used this. I just use scoring sheets, but you can create some modifiers there if you wish. Pool generation I do not use. Seeds I do not use. Swap attendees is you can put players in and out if they drop out. Admin access you can give to someone else. So if I wished to give admin access to Tasman as well, I'd use his email address. Okay. You can do this for those people that will that are a bit concerned about privacy. Then there's options for team events, right? And then if you wish to, you can delete the whole event. And so that's how we go about setting up the event. And now we'll go into running it. All right. Now, what we've done is we've set up the event. And what we want to do is we want to get the event going. So all we have to do is we have to click create matches. And it is round 1. I want to use the Swiss pairing system. Randomized tables is interesting. So this it doesn't guarantee, but it tries not to put people at tables that they've played at before. So for this, I'd say yes and 2 tables, and obviously it doesn't matter first round, but it'll matter in subsequent rounds. So if I play at table 1, it'll try and put me at table 2 the next one. So we're gonna do 2 tables and we'll generate matches. Now, as you remember, I had myself and Taz down as a grudge, and so under rounds, it's automatically paired us. Okay. Now, if you wanted to switch those players for some reason, you can do that. And what you do is you go to the yellow button here, and if we were to switch me with Tony, we would do that. But then we'd also have to switch me into the other game. So Tony becomes Matt. If for some reason you wanted to delete a match, you would use this. Okay. The save button is for if you're entering results as yourself. What we've got here is basically we've got 2 matches. 2 are incomplete, meaning that there's no results submitted. Unconfirmed will be if one player submitted results but the other player has not confirmed them yet, and completed will be all the ones that are confirmed. Now, I'll take you to what players will see. So as a player, if you were to be submitting your results, and I have access to this because I'm picked to be in a game, you would do something. So like obviously I would beat Rob Fanuff, so I would go for a win. We use the best tournament scoring system, blackjack. I would obviously smash him, so it would be a 21-0. And then I took his whole army off. We played a good points level, 2000, not 2300 because there's more skill involved. And he didn't take anything of mine off, so I gave him an absolute spanking, right? Now, as the player, I click submit. And then when Rob goes to his own result submission, he will see little writing here, not dissimilar to this. So it'll say Macroja win this, and then he'll get the option to confirm it. Now, as the TO, you see this now, and as you can see, this has changed. Unconfirmed has a 1, incomplete has a 1. Now, if you wish to use those scores, if for some reason the second player does not have access to the internet or something like that, you can click use and it'll drop it in for you. You confirm with the other player and then you click save. And you can see it then moves from completed from unconfirmed. Now, we want these results to come in. So Tony never wins. He got a 6. Taz got a 15 and 1. And let's just make something up here. So 1800. It was a very bloody game. To 1500. And we save that. And now they've all gone to complete. Now, just for these other tools on this screen as the TO, you've got this. So if you have access to a television where you can project or something like that, you can do this so you don't have to call out pairings. So it'll tell people what table they're at. You can print for some reason if you wanted to. You can print match slips if you wanted to. You can add an empty match. And you can also delete the whole round so that you can redraw it. That's how you enter results. Now, as the ladder, that will now have changed, and it automatically changes like this. And as you can see, it gives you a total of attrition points, so it'll generally sort based on that as well. You've got your total tournament points here. You can make notes. If for some reason Tony had to drop out of the event for the next game, what you can do is you can click the tick. It will become a cross like that. And when I create the next round, he will no longer be part of it. And I'll show you that in a moment. Bonus tournament points I have used. So this will be particularly useful for those that use sports or paint scoring, is that you can add that in the end. You can add it at any point, but typically I would recommend adding it at the end so that it will affect the ladder. Okay. And as you'll see shortly, if I just refresh that. So that's the other thing, is that with Tabletop TO, it doesn't automatically refresh. So your players may have to hit refresh at different points. You can see now I have regular tournament points plus the bonus tournament points to your total tournament points there. Right, so if I wanted to create another round, because I've taken Tony out of the event, I would go to create matches, round 2, yes, 2 tables, generate matches, and then as you can see, Rob Fanuff now has the buy. Right, now with a buy buster, I would generally then still do whatever you've decided. So if the buy buster is playing, you can still enter results for the buy buster, and you can put in whatever Rob scores in that. Okay. Now stats. If we move on to other things, stats is an interesting one. It'll give you a faction breakdown. So as the TO, if I wanted to go to different factions, I would never play Abyssal Dwarves, so let's do Basileia. Taz is a Northern Alliance man. Rob's going to play his Ogres. Tony's going to play his Herd. That now would give us a stats breakdown. Lovely. Now, when we go to sign up, If we needed to approve things, it would give us a list here. If we had chosen not automatic sign up, but that they needed approval, we would get a list here with accept buttons. Okay. And then as you can see, because I refreshed before, I can see now that there's been one vote for Taz. Until I click publish responses, this will only be visible to myself as the TO. Well, that takes you through Tabletop Tournament. I hope you find that useful. And until next time, keep countercharging.
Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.